Howdy, and welcome back to Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. Continuing French Week with this 1970 Midori KSN Panhard EBR 75A. This is a 1/40th scale kit of an armored car, 8-wheeled armored car, and it's kit number 150014. So the EBR, which stands for Engine Blindé de Reconnaissance, or Armored Recon Vehicle, or Reconnaissance Vehicle, was developed from a pre-war 8-wheel armored car that was just in prototype form pre-World War II, the AM40P, and it also developed an oscillating turret. So the new one was going to be heavier, 13 tons versus 8 tons. The crew was increased from 2 to 4, and the main armament increased from a 25 millimeter gun to a 75 millimeter gun. The 8-wheel setup included some novel new tires by Michelin that were anti-bullet tires that were nitrogen filled. This was a full 8-wheel drive vehicle. The middle 2 wheels could be raised or for more speed on hard surfaces, and lowered for more grip on soft surfaces. These middle wheels here were aluminum rimmed with these little gougers, added onto it with a rubber in between, so it wasn't a full tire on there. The front and rear ones were regular tires, the bulletproof tires, and then these were different type here. So you had 2 drivers on this. There's one in the front and one in the rear, because a lot of armored cars were out, doing reconnaissance, and they needed to get out of situations just about as quickly as they got into them. So it was starting to be developed pre-war, and some of the armored cars during World War II actually had this same type of thing where you had 2 drivers to go forwards and backwards. Of course, American joke against the French would say, yeah, well, because that way it could retreat just as fast. There was also a gunner and commander in the turret itself. It was powered by a 200 horsepower, 6-liter horizontally opposed engine. The engine was under the floor of the fighting compartment, so helped to keep the profile of the vehicle down. But the downside of that is if you ever had to do maintenance into it, especially heavy maintenance, you had to take the whole turret out in order to be able to get to the motor. It was developed into 3 separate models. The first one was the Model 51, which had the round turret, the FL-11 turret. It was equipped with a 75 millimeter SA-49 gun, which utilized the same ammunition as the US 75 millimeter M3 and M6 cannons. So the French had a lot of ex-US military vehicles still at the time, so having compatible ammunition was a desirable thing initially. They made 836 of those. The next one was a what they call a Revalorise, which they made 650 of, and they took 650 of the Model 51s and rebored the gun out to 90 millimeter. So they wanted to get more power out of that, but it was a low pressure gun, so it wasn't really good against armor, but it was good for larger explosive. And they produced those rebuilds between 64 and 68. And then finally is the Model 54, which 279 were built. Those were made between 54 and 56, and that swapped out the round turret for what we see here, which is an AMX-13's turret. So it was the FL-10 A2C turret. Big advantage of it was a much more higher velocity cannon. In fact, it was modeled after the same 75 millimeter gun on the Panther tank. It also had an auto loader, and it had two drums containing 6 rounds each, so it could get off some rounds pretty fast. Couldn't slug it out for very long, but as a reconnaissance vehicle, it really wasn't designed to do that. So it was a way of shoot and scoot. Carried a total of 36 of those 75mm rounds, and the vehicle was phased out by around 1964. The French used these and pretty much everywhere the French were. Real action for them was in Algeria. The Portuguese also purchased some, and they were used in some of the Portuguese colonial wars. West Germany acquired some. Indonesia also was a purchaser. And then in Africa, former French colonies, some got some of these left behind and were used. Tunisia, Morocco, Mauritania, they got 15, 36, and 15 respectively. So that's a little history on the vehicle itself. Midori KSN. Midori started out around 1960 making their first model kits. They did pretty much exclusively Japanese market manufacturing. They merged with KSN at some point, and KSN was a little bit more of a toy manufacturer. So you see that in some of these kits where there's a play quality in it, and as you'll see on here, you've got that this has a clockwork motor inside of it. So Max over at Max's Models did a little history on Midori KSN, so I'll put a link in the description for that video so you can take a look at that. Kind of an interesting story on those guys and some unique products that they produced. So this has got nice artwork here of the, of the EBR coming out. It looks like across a desert area. You've got Jaguars flying top cover here, and it is in 1/40th scale. It's part of their Armored Car Series, and EBR 75A. This really should say, Model 54 as opposed to 75A. And they got a French flag, and then we've got this little sticker here for Heinz Behringer, Hobby Modelblau, Spielwaren. From what I can tell, this was a kind of a catalog company in Germany. So I think they were importing these kits into Germany under that name. And then on the side here, we've got another kit available. It looks like the SDKFZ 222. And this may be, it looks like some history of the EBR on the side here. This side's got some additional ones. You've got I think that's a Saladin, and I have no idea what that is. FV 1609, so maybe something British, maybe something Soviet, maybe something Japanese, I don't know. On the end, repetition of the top box art. Here's your kit number, made in Japan, and the KSN Midori logo. Same thing on this end. Got an old price sticker here. This may have been from that Heinz Behringer, and pretty much identical. And you can probably see the staples on here, typical of Japanese boxes. You've got this glossy, printed directly on the cardboard, somewhat thin, and it's all stapled together. Same thing with the bottom, stapled together bottom box. And here we have our instructions. Really typical of Japanese kits of the time. This real thin paper that it's printed on. All in Japanese, because it's supposed to be pretty much just for the Japanese market. So you've got breakdown of the steps. You do have a layout of the parts trees on here and some of the loose bits. There's the clockwork motor, and it looks like also glue wasn't being included, and a wind-up key. So simple steps here, getting wheels attached onto there, dropping that inside the hull, adding additional wheels, putting the top and bottom halves of the hull together, getting your turret put together, dropping your turret on there, and all your extra little accessories, and how to wind up the motor. So not too much to it, fairly simple kit. These are the decals that come with it. This represents what was on the box cover. I was not able to find this particular EBR, but yeah, as armor for the most part, it's a lot of it looks the same with just very subtle details, but that is what you get with that one. And let's look at the plastic here. I've got molded in this olive green here, a darker olive green. We got these big fat wheels here. So these are the center ones and these are the outside ones. There's our hull. Fairly simple. Engraved lines for the hatch. This is the top of the turret. There, nothing really on the inside. This tree here's got the turret, and you've got these little folds here representing the covering for the oscillation component, molded on shovel and pick. It's pretty cheap looking. And nothing on the inside. These are some more, these are like little panniers on the side. And then there's our gun barrel, which unfortunately is in 2 pieces. So you have a nice seam you're going to have to try to take care of. Man, they do give you these, the whip antennas, which are pretty thick and heavy. Here's our bottom hull, very simple, no detail at all, just kind of axles on a box. There's some more of these little panniers for the sides. And here's our hubs for the wheels. Yeah, looks like we do get rubber tires. So here's the ones to represent the middle ones. These really should be at an angle, as opposed to just straight across. Not much detail to those. And here's our main wheels, which are really poorly molded. They are rubber though. So with a wind-up motor, it'll give a little bit of grip to get it going. But they're not the best moldings. And then there's your little clockwork motor. So it looks like that would drop in like that. And you wind it up through the bottom. So there you go. So this EBR is this really was the only kit forever. Recently in recent 2000s, there's a couple of companies that are making EBRs, but up until then, this was it. And the 1/40th scale is a little bit of an odd scale, but still I think passable for most usage. For dioramas, the 1/35th scale is kind of close on that, but if you're looking for an EBR, this was it. And Midori only issued this twice. This one here, which I believe is the first issue, and then there's a second one which does not appear to be any different except for just very different artwork. But the kit, I believe, is still the same kit. It would have been nice if they did one with this turret and the other one with the round turret. Give you a choice on it, but it appears to be that they're both the exact same kit. And that's it. So if you've built one of these, tell us about it in the comments section. If you got one sitting on your shelf, as always, take a picture of it, send it in, and that is all for today. Well, thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for some more French Week. We got some more surprises coming up. Well, thank you very much for supporting the channel, and have yourself a great rest of your day.